Record button. Great. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to everyone joining us. This is the last of our series of Zoom calls, and we have met so many interesting people. But tonight, I think we've saved the best till last because we, yes, because we're crossing over now to Ireland, and we're crossing over to a couple that are really, really doing fantastically well. You guys really, really are doing well. And we are very, very intrigued as to what you're doing. And of course, Gordon, if you could just unmute yourself quickly.
Yeah.
So Gordon was over with you on Saturday at your event. And just before we start with that, can you just tell us a little bit about what that was all about? And, you know, because some people may never have been to a Juice Plus event. What was Saturday all about?
I think Saturday was like a vision day, a training day for distributors, and these were kind of ostensibly team members from Damien Brennan and Eddie O'Shaughnessy's business, although I think I saw Jerry McKinney there as well.
Yeah, that's right.
There was 175 people in the room, and throughout the day there were trainings, 20 minutes, 30-minute trainings from different people that had never trained before. There was a panel being interviewed, and the whole essence was that these were brand new people that were either hosting or speaking for the first time. And it was just very exciting to see. And, you know, Damien and Eddie, it was quite funny. They just sat in the back, like, you know, a couple of people just orchestrating the whole thing. And, you know, everyone else did the work, etc. It was fantastic. And, you know, I think there's a winning formula there. A couple of things blew me away was the panel with all the QNMD ladies. And I believe most of them were in Seamus and Mary's business. And the lady that was interviewing was actually an NMD in your business. Yeah. And that was just, for me, fantastic. And in fact, I went up after them to do my speech, my talk, and I think they just pinched everything that I was going to talk about. It was just incredible. And for them to have such a grasp of our business within such a short space of time was very refreshing, actually. You know, we had keynote speakers like Emma Buckley there, you know, solidifying, if you like, our knowledge about the products. Michelle, my wife, did a fantastic talk there, and that went down really well and touched a lot of nerves with a lot of the people, and, you know, that they related to what was going on. And James, she did our talk about the keys to success in terms of personal development. Yeah. So, in all, it was a fantastic day, and I really enjoyed it, and it was great to support the Irish fraternity.
Yeah, well, brilliant. And really, you know, you are doing so well. And I mean, we feel a lot of affinity to you guys because you are really focused on the product big time. And yet you're running with the sort of massive growth. Okay, super. So let's just start straight into it. So I think everybody would just be interested to know, first of all, you know, tell us about your background and how were you first introduced to Juice Plus?
Okay, well, first I'd like to say that we're absolutely delighted to have been on tonight's call. It's a real honor to speak for you. And we were so privileged to have Gordon and Michelle over. They were fantastic, but Gordon, I'm going to have to say it, Michelle definitely stole the show. Everybody has been raving about her. She definitely was the queen of the day. So Michelle, thank you so much for that. But you're also great yourself, Gordon. You're a great couple to look up to, and that's what a lot of our guys were saying. So yeah, Saturday was amazing, and it all, I suppose, stems back to where it all began for ourselves. And my background is that I was a secondary school teacher. I taught kids from age 12 to 18 years of age, and I taught for 8 years. For the first year when we were building our Juice Plus business, I taught still for full time. We have 2 kids. Jamie is now 5.5 and Abby is 3.5. But Abby was only 6 weeks old when we started the business. So we built 2 businesses. Yeah, within a year. While Seamus was a full-time student and I was teaching full-time with an infant and a toddler. So that's a little bit about our background. I'll tell you a little bit about how we came across the product in a minute. Do you want to tell a little bit?
Yeah, my background, I used to be self-employed. I've been in stair manufacturing. I used to have a company where I had 5 or 6 employees, and I used to travel all around Ireland making staircases. And then back in 2008, 2009, one of the worst recessions ever hit Ireland, came aboard, and it affected my business massively. I realized that I was actually spending out more money than I was actually bringing in, and I was having to spend more time away from my family to try and make ends meet. And eventually it kind of come to a head when I realized I was actually having to use Mary's teaching wage to try and pay my employees to try and keep my business afloat. So I decided to pack it all in, and I always had a love for computers. So I decided that I would go back to college and study computer programming. So it's a little bit of kind of about my background.
Great, fantastic. And then how did you come across Juice Plus then?
So I think I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and it's just if you decide to look at it that way. So I had a really difficult pregnancy with Abby, in that my body just wouldn't absorb iron. The whole way through my pregnancy, I was extremely anemic, and at 30 weeks I had to have an iron infusion, and then after she was born I had to have a blood transfusion. My blood's actually dropped to 5.9. So it was out of sheer desperation to feel better. Most women, after they have babies, they want to lose weight, they want to get back into their jeans. I just wanted to feel well. I just wanted to have the energy to get up in the morning to look after. Jamie was only 2 at the time. So I was doing a lot of research. I am not one of these people who, the latest thing going, they're going to try. I'm not into that. I've always been into natural alternatives. So I had read that beetroot juice was supposed to be very good for it. So Seamus was buying me beetroot juice by the gallon. I was eating licorice, red meat, trying everything, but nothing was working for me. And through doing research online, I came across Juice Plus and realized Damien Brennan sold it. He came and he met us, went through a little bit of information about it. And to be honest, when I realized that he'd been taking it for over 20 years himself, that to me was the reason that I decided that straight away I got to have this product, because I hadn't known anybody to take something for that length of time. Most people will tell you they take something for a couple of months, maybe max a year, but 20 years. And you could tell by looking at him, he was so healthy. And I suppose my fear with the product to start with, and this is the premium capsules, I didn't know of anything else. My fear was I was feeding my daughter, so would it harm her? And when he assured me that 3 of his daughters had taken it the whole way through the pregnancy, that was enough for me to say, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. I love the idea of it. I had juiced, but obviously I wasn't able to do it on a regular enough basis. It wasn't 7 days a week for me. So the convenience of the capsules just seemed fantastic for me. So that's how we came across it. I started taking the product, fell in love with it, had phenomenal results. Probably a little bit too quickly, because it kind of went a little bit against us when we started distributing it, because I presumed everybody would feel like I did straight away. And I learned the hard way that obviously there is a reason for that 4-month commitment. But I was telling people about it anyway. I could not tell people about it, and I didn't even know there was a business opportunity with it. I laugh now, because when people used to come visiting us to meet the new baby, I think, sorry, there's somebody at the door. Sorry, one second. Sorry about this. When somebody used to come visiting us to see the new baby, I would have, they would have said, "What's your secret?" And I used to get my capsule bottles and I used to shake them, and I used to say, "It's Juice Plus. It's the best kept secret I've ever heard. I can't believe nobody's ever heard of it." So the business sort of came on from there, because I had about 6 people who wanted to try the product. And I rang Damien, because I didn't just want to give out his number, and I said, "Would it be okay if I pass on your number?" And he said, "Well, you could, or you could think about taking out a franchise." And I laughed, because I thought, this is hilarious. Yeah, me take out a franchise. I knew nothing about business. And I suppose the experience I had with Seamus's business had turned so negative that I didn't want to actually, go backwards. That to me was going backwards, getting back into business, and I only wanted to move forwards. but Damien can be very persuasive, and I looked at it, and I only looked at it because he's such a gentleman, and I wanted to, you know, I didn't want to be rude. And when I seen the potential, it blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. I couldn't believe that I was sitting on something that could generate so much income.
And what was it, Mary, that made you think, wow, this potential is incredible? Because he obviously showed you something where when you thought, wow, this is incredible. What did he show you that really made that difference for you?
Okay, so he went through a small presentation. It was, you know, there was probably about 5 or 6 slides on it. Now I can tell you what was in it. Back then I didn't see any of it. Like, the first part was a little bit about, you know, securing my belief in the product, so tell me a little bit about the product. Then there was a little bit about the company to, you know, reassure me that it wasn't a new company, it wasn't going to go bankrupt in 5 years, that it was cash rich. But to be honest, James, I didn't hear any of that. I was literally sitting there nodding, smiling, and thinking, you know, let's just get to the end of it so I can say thank you very much, but no, it's not for me. Can I just give my friend your number? And it was the marketing plan. So what he brought up on the screen, I'll always remember it. It was the different positions. So at that stage, you could only go as far as NMD. So he brought them up one by one. So SDD, SC, SSC, QNMD, and NMD. And he brought up the commissions and the bonus. Okay. So I didn't even see the commissions. It was the bonuses. So he brought them up. He brought it all the way to NMD, and he took it away from me again, and he just brought it as far as SDD. And I think it was that, you know, taking it away from me, I was like, oh my God, can you put that back up? How much money is that? And that's what grabbed my attention. I was like, oh my dear Lord, like at that stage it was 48,000 was your bonus for NMD, like 50K. That was life-changing. And he said, never mind about that sort of bonus. Do you think you could get to SDD? And the word target scared me. And I think it scares a lot of people. And it's the reason it scares us is because we're afraid of failure. So if you say you want to go SDD and you don't hit it, you feel like, oh God, I can't do this business. And it would nearly maybe set me back rather than pushing me forward. So what happened next was I said, well, what do you need to do? And he explained that you just look to get it. Premium was what we always led with. So 14 premium customers within 1 month. And you, at that stage, you got €1,000 because you got your bonus all in one piece. Do you think you could do it? And I said, oh God, I don't know. But I'd like to try. And I always remember, I can see him sitting at the table, and he said, well, it's like this. If I have to sit up all night to get you there, we'll get you there. And it was his belief in me and that support that I had. He never had to sit up all night because I just did it from then. But I did it because I knew I had somebody who had my back. And I think that's what's so, so, so important in this business, that when you bring somebody into it and they tell you they want to go for it, you got to take them by the hand and you got to run with them. So that's where it all started, James.
Wow, I think that's a great story. I mean, it's an amazing story, and a lot of people are going to really identify with that and think, yeah, that's just a fantastic way for you to be brought in the business. So you got going, and what were your first 6 months like? I mean, you went senior director in your first month. Did you do that?
We did it in 10 days, actually. Yeah.
Wow. And then how was your first 6 months then? How did it then progress from there?
It literally spiraled out of control. We joined the business on the 4th of May, 2013. And there was an event happening in Dublin on the 25th of May, the same month. And I seen it actually online on Facebook, and I mentioned it to Damien, and Damien was like, yeah, it's on. But I would say, you know, thinking back, he probably knew we were a young couple. We didn't have extra money at all. So he didn't want to push it on us to attend the conference. But in my mind, I was thinking it would be lovely to get a night away. We had 2 kids, and it was a nice excuse to say, okay, Mum and Dad, I need a babysitter because we need to go to this. It's for our new business. And we went to that conference. And on the Friday night, Dave O'Brien was speaking. So this goes to show you how we didn't actually realize what we were sitting on at this stage. Even though we had gone STD in 10 days, we were delighted, we were thrilled, we were making €1,000. It was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. But what we originally wanted to do was to earn €200 every month in commissions, build it up to €1,000. So SSC within a year. And that, I thought if I could do that, that would just be, I would be so happy, and never imagined myself going beyond that, because it's an extra, 12,000 a year. That's life changing for families. So we didn't even go to Dave O'Brien on the Friday night. We were thinking, no, Saturday will be enough for us, because we didn't understand it. We'd never heard Dave O'Brien speak. So we went in on the Saturday morning, and we sat down, and we sat towards the back, and a few people came in and sat on either side of us, and it was the greatest blessing that they did, because next thing the music started playing, everybody started getting up and dancing and hugging and kissing each other, and myself and Seamus got so uncomfortable. We were sitting looking at each other going, oh my dear God, what have we got mixed up in? And it was one of those moments where you start sweating and you're kind of looking around really awkward, thinking, are people going to start coming and hugging and kissing us? Because we'd never been in that environment before. And Irish people we're very backward like that, and we're not very comfortable with hugging and kissing. So if there had been a way out, we would have left, and it would have been the biggest mistake we would have ever made. But because we couldn't go anywhere, we had to sit. And up first was Gordon. Well, Gary Giles actually spoke first. So, of course, when we heard him speak and he started talking about the company and where the product comes from, we were really interested. And, they'd obviously grabbed our attention. And next up was Gordon Hester. And I will never forget when Gordon Hester said that he'd lost count of the amount of mums that had become millionaires. And I looked at Seamus and I was like, millionaires? Did he just say millionaires? And Seamus says, I think so. So we were obviously very much enthralled in it now, and our vision was getting bigger and bigger. But to be honest, it wasn't until the next day, and we didn't even intend on staying for the Sunday. We thought we'll get up early, we'll go home, because we live about 3.5 hours from Dublin, and we'll go home early so we're back in nice time. But we couldn't. We were completely obsessed at this stage. And Katie and John and Rob spoke the following day. And I think what did it for us was, Damien obviously had been in the business 20 years. He had built a huge business, was extremely successful, but it was a 20-year period we were looking at. So we presumed that to go NMD, it took that length of time. And for somebody who's in their late 20s, you don't see that far. You don't think that you're going to ever do something like that. So because I suppose Katie was similar in age to us and John, and they were doing it, and they were earning a lot of money, more money than we ever thought it was possible to earn. They were living a dream lifestyle. That gave us the belief, and that gave us the vision that, well, if they can do it, why the hell can we not? Like, what is the difference between them and us? Absolutely nothing. And I think once you realize that there is no difference between you and anybody who is PMD Club 100 except what's up here, because you just don't believe that you can do it. So we went home that day, and coming into where we live, there was 2 people standing out on the street talking, and they were actually 2 customers of ours. And I said to Seamus, stop the car. And I was so excited. I don't even know what I said to them, but I was so excited that I literally was like, oh my God, girls, you will not believe what I have just seen, what I have just heard this weekend. I can't even describe it, but you have to meet me tomorrow for a coffee, because you guys are definitely going to do this with me. And one of the girls was Lisa Hamilton, who's an NMD in my business now. So the power of events is just, it's mind blowing. And anybody who doesn't go you'll never reach your full potential, because you'll never see it. You don't see it. And if we had have left on the Saturday night and not stayed to the Sunday, I know we wouldn't be where we are, because I would have thought that we can't do in the space of time that we did it, what was possible. But it was because we'd seen Katie, we'd seen John, that it was like, you know what, maybe we can. So James, what happened next was we recruited 6 people in our second month into the business. And I know a lot of people don't believe in stacking, but we did. We created 3 legs, and we actually put the strongest person underneath the person who maybe wouldn't find it as easy to go out and speak to people. So within our second month in the business, we had 6 new STDs through. So we had 6 people who had made €1,000 in their first month in the business. So we had one hell of a story going forward. and we had excitement in our town like was never seen before, and that's our business just literally just went crazy from there.
Wow, that's an amazing story. But I can see that because you're so excited and so enthusiastic, that's obviously such an incredibly important component
Absolutely.
of your success. But let me just, I mean, I'm conscious of the time, and I want to fast forward now to Sculpt Movement and everything you're doing online, because it's very exciting what you're doing. And tell us a little bit, obviously you've already had success talking to people one-to-one and in your community, but clearly Sculpt Movement has been something of a different scale altogether. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that and what the results have been and how you're working with the Sculpt Movement concept, because I think everybody's going to be fascinated that you've determined and got a brand and you're really running with it.
Yeah, well, I suppose what we all know, and everybody in this call knows, that this business is never about you, and you can never go to where you want to go by yourself. And the most important thing that I feel is that everybody sees themselves as an equal. There's no hierarchy in our business. There's no hierarchy in our team. If you're an SDD, you have the exact same, chance as anybody who is an NMD. And we're very blessed to have an unbelievable team of leaders. I know everybody thinks they have a brilliant team, but we really have a phenomenal team, and we have built really strong relationships, and there is no hierarchy. There's no such thing as it's Mary and Seamus's team anymore. And that's, I suppose, where Sculpt Movement was formed, where it was born. It was no longer about myself and Seamus. It was about a movement that we were creating with all of our leaders. And I think that's when you create the most power, is when people take ownership and they are so proud to be part of something. I mean, Juice Plus is a vehicle we use, but Juice Plus is just the vehicle. You need to create a community which people are attracted to, and that's what we have done with Sculpt Movement. It's a community of 99% women that are empowering each other to be the best they can possibly be, to live the life that they've been destined to live, and to help as many people as they possibly can in the process. So what it actually stands for is simple changes uniting like-minded people together. So there's a real meaning behind it, and there's never one person who decides anything. It's always we have a core group of people that we always interact with, and we brainstorm different ideas. And that's where, because everybody brings something different to the table, and when other people are bringing something different to the table, all of a sudden you have this unbelievable movement that is going somewhere that even if I wanted to stop it, I couldn't stop it now.
Amazing. So Sculpt Movement is the team in a sense.
Yes.
But talk us through a little bit about what you're doing online, and are you operating a lot online, or is it half 50% offline? I mean, I know you said you got out the car and you were so excited with your customers in the street, but tell us, is it more online now for you through Facebook, Instagram?
It's very much a mixture, to be honest, James, and I don't think you can ever solely rely on one method to build your business. And I think that's maybe the mistake that people make, is they focus very much maybe on one aspect, so maybe offline, and they don't do online, or maybe they do all online and they don't do any offline stuff. So what works for us is a complete mixture. So yes, we use a lot of social media, predominantly Facebook, to get our lifestyle out there, to show what we're about, to advertise what Sculpt Movement is. But then what we always try to do is to meet our team, so that you actually get to know the person that you're working with, that they have a point of contact with you, and that we still do an awful lot of in-homes. In-homes have always been a really, really big key to us building our business, because in half an hour you can hit 6 people. And it's very difficult to get the message across through a private message, for example, on Facebook. But when you're sitting in the room with someone and they can see your passion, they can see by looking at you that you're healthy, that you're obviously taking this product. They can ask you the questions, and you can tell if there's somebody very skeptical sitting in the room. And now I know to address the questions that they're having. I know what's going on in their head, so I can address those questions. And we have a huge success rate. Like if we have 6 people at an in-home, we're going to get 4 premium orders from that, because our business would be 75 to 80% capsules. We don't We don't do boosters really. I would say we're lucky if we have 5% boosters, if even, in our business. Complete is getting a little bit bigger, but it's always been a predominantly capsule-based business, and that's the way we've been taught from the start. So that's all we know.
That's amazing. Absolutely fascinating. And I think a lot of people will be so encouraged by what you're saying, that it's a mixture of everything. But yeah, that's absolutely great. Now, just to say, after 9, we're going to go into a question and answer. So if anyone's got any questions that you would very particularly like to ask Mary or Seamus, is Seamus still there?
Seamus, we have some visitors, sorry.
Oh, okay. Then please, would you put it on the chat box at the bottom? Because this is fascinating. I've got to say, this is a really, really fascinating call. So just as we move on towards that question and answer bit, let me just ask you how you move people from being customers to distributors. Because some people will say, do you know, I've got so many customers, but I'm finding it difficult to turn my customers into distributors. And how do you go about that?
To me, your customers will be your best distributors. So it's a no-brainer. And what a lot of my customers would say is that they feel like they are the only customer that I have. So it's making that person feel so special. So I end up having nearly like a best friend relationship with quite a lot of my customers. Not everyone. Obviously, there are some people who don't want to build that relationship, but I prefer to ring them. Facebook chat is fine, but I prefer to actually pick up the phone and have a phone conversation and see how they're getting on, ask them about their family. I take so many notes. If, for instance, I was talking to somebody today and she was telling me she was going to a wedding on Saturday, I would send her a message on Saturday morning and say, have a great day at the wedding, make sure and send me a photograph. Little touches like that they make such a difference to people, because nowadays life is so busy that people don't listen to each other anymore. So all people ever want is for you to listen to them. And if you listen well enough, you'll soon find out how this business would be perfect for them. So once they become a raving fan, and in order for them to become a raving fan, you need to do unbelievable customer care, because so many people will stop taking the product after a short space of time, because life gets busy. They think it's not working. But if you're speaking to them quite regularly and asking them how they're getting on, are they still taking it, and then just chatting about life, they'll look forward to that call and they'll expect it. And all of a sudden then they're like, yeah, I'm doing great, and they're referring people to you. And that's when I say, you're referring people to me. Why would you not decide to do this with me? I'd absolutely love to work with you. And a lot of people won't say yes straight away. And I think that's why you need to encourage people a little bit more. And if they say no, say, but why? My God, we're going to do this together. What have you got to lose? It's 60 euros. My God, you've 2 customers there already. You've already made your 60 euros back. And I'm going to do it with you. And it's that support, it's that security, and it's that encouragement that will convert those customers to distributors.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it sounds so natural what you're saying. And I think that's the real secret to it, that it's just coming from the heart, and you are genuinely wanting to get alongside people. I think that's absolutely wonderful. So we have got questions beginning to come in, but we're not quite there yet. So we just need a few more questions, but I'm going to ask you a question. And a lot of people will say, oh, Mary, it just seems so amazing what's going on with you. And it all just seems a bed of roses, and it's just nonstop amazing stuff happening all the time. But what would have been perhaps your highest point, and what would have been your lowest point in your journey so far?
I suppose our lowest point would have been when we had built a Q&MD leg, and I developed a really close relationship with her. I seen her as a really close friend, and she decided to join another network, and we basically lost a Q&MD leg over the space of a month. And that was tough, and I think I took that very personally. I was really hurt, and I felt that I would have done anything to help her to get to where she wanted to go, and obviously her business had stopped, and she thought the grass was greener.
Yeah.
I definitely know now she has made a big mistake, but that, unfortunately, she had to go through that to experience that. But I would say that was one of the hardest things to go through, was to think that somebody would look at another opportunity, to think that they wouldn't see the potential anymore, and to think that as a friend they wouldn't come to you and say, I'm struggling. it's not going the way it's going, that they would just decide to join another network. I find that very tough. I would say that was one of the hardest things, but it's made us so much stronger. It's made us realize that that person actually wasn't a customer to begin with. She came in for the business. So it highlighted even more that the people who stay in your business are your customers who become distributors, because they have the love for the product that nobody else will have. So that, I suppose, was one of the hardest, the most challenging times. We also experienced an awful lot of cyberbullying from our local town. That was when our business really was taken off at the start. Now I say to my team, bring it on, because it means your business is moving. When you have a lot of negativity coming at you, it's never about the product, it's about the business, and people can't deal with your success. But when you're going through that for the first time, that's really tough, really, really, really tough. But the highest, I would say one of the highest points in our business was getting our first NMD. I'll never forget the day that Lisa Hamilton went NMD. That was a really, really, really proud moment.
And that's the woman that you met in the street. I mean,
yeah.
She's a customer. I mean, that's incredible. And how did you feel that day? It must have been extraordinary.
Completely overwhelmed. Absolutely, completely overwhelmed. I remember we had sat up all night. She was focusing on getting some of her team members were going for a promotion. I was focusing on her. She was focusing on her team members. And I was going to school the next morning, and I was ringing her from like 7:30 in the morning, but she'd only been to bed at about 4. So she was exhausted. She'd fallen asleep. And I knew if I didn't get her by 8:30, I wasn't going to get her till 11 o'clock because I was going to be in class. And I was like, left all these voicemails going, answer your phone, answer your phone. It was far better than us hitting any promotion. There was nothing like it.
Amazing, amazing. All right, well, look, let's just go into the questions now, because we've got a number that are coming up. And I do encourage people to ask questions now, because this is, hey, Seamus!
Hi, back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We come back for a very interesting part now, because
I had to get the plumber. The plumber came with no shower for the past week, so.
What's that?
I had to go see the plumber. We'd have no shower for the last week. Our shower broke.
That was very important then, to have that meeting.
Right. Swimming a lot.
Yeah. So let's just ask some of these questions now. And there are a number that are coming in. And Patrick here in Stockholm is asking, how do you and your husband work together? Do you have different tasks? And what is the best and the worst thing to work together in the business? Gosh.
Okay, there's a few questions in there.
Yeah, so I suppose, a lot of people are thinking, as a couple, how are we going to work together? Are we always going to be doing the same things, or what is the best way to do it? I mean, obviously it's going to be different for everyone, but how do you find it works best for you?
Well, I suppose we're very lucky from the point of view that we both have very different skills that we bring to the table. So I think that if you are thinking about working with your partner, you need to figure out what are you both good at, and then you obviously excel in that. So Seamus is phenomenal on social media. He's just, in my opinion, there's nobody better than him, because he's very real with it. He's able to attract a lot of people to our page. So the way it works for us is he does an awful lot of the attraction marketing, bringing the people in.
I kind of hook them and reel them on, and then Mary, she
cooks them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I seal the deal then. So Seamus will, he's on my page basically, and he could be posting from my page and replying to people as me.
I was like, hey, hon, how are you? Where did you get your dress? And
great, but the thing is, that really works.
It does. Because for us, we just don't attract men to our business. Our business is made up of women. I think we have 3 men in our business, if even.
Yeah.
So if he was to start attracting men, it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more difficult. Whereas he knows if he can put up the posts that females are going to be attracted to, and then he can get me on the phone, or I can go meet them, then we have a much higher chance of closing the lead.
Yeah, we've kind of found, like, if you get any sort of men we've brought on board, it's like myself. If you're taking the product and you have fantastic benefits, you're not going to go on and tell all your mates, oh my God, look at my skin, look at how much weight I've lost, I look fantastic, because your mates would kind of take the piss out of you. But if it's a woman that does it, if she starts looking good, her hair's looking good, she's going to tell all her friends. So it's fantastic. It's a lot better. It's worked a lot better for us bringing in women.
Yeah. We, Seamus is very good about we include our kids in an awful lot of it. And some people aren't comfortable with that, but we are very comfortable, because our kids are the reason we do this. It's because of Abby that we are where we are. If we never had her, we never would have came across Juice Plus. So Seamus would do a lot of little videos and things like that, which, you know, it's all about bringing people onto your page so they can see what you're doing, and eventually they're going to ask, how do I get involved, or could we have a chat about it? So that's how we work together. Seamus wouldn't do an awful lot of in-home meetings. I would do them. But you would do a lot of Zoom calls. You do a lot of training calls with the team with regard to social media, how to, you know, get the most out of your page and things like that. And we do a lot of trainings together.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is, like, I knew absolutely nothing about social media before I joined the business. But it was actually an event in Dublin, and I seen Katie Ravy, and she was talking about how she built her business through social media. And up until that, myself and Mary would only use like Facebook for kind of nosing on people's pages. But I went home and I got as many books as I possibly could on social media marketing, and I read up everything, and I started following kind of all the top leaders and seeing what they were doing. And as I always say, like, success leaves clues. So I kind of followed what they were doing and trying to make it our own way. Yeah. So it wasn't actually just copying what they were doing, because you need to kind of be authentic.
Yeah, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make on social media. They try to be somebody they're not, so it's becoming comfortable in your own skin. And that took us a long time. I mean, the first post we put on social media, I wrote it for a full day, and in the end of Seamus press enter, we had a massive row about it because I felt, oh my God. And the only reason I was worried was because I thought, what would other people think? The post itself was fine, but I was so concerned about what would other people think. So once you can get over that, your social media will start flying.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. So another question from Lee Jordan Alcock. How do you lead with the premium capsules? How do you close the process? Now, I think people are going to be really interested that you've got such a strong capsule business, because, of course, that is absolutely rock solid for you. Because obviously the shakes, people come on and come off. But so how do you get people on the capsules? You know, and how do you lead with the capsules?
I think it's very much, you got to have that conversation with people. So say, for instance, James, now you over social media, because most people are using social media. If you were to send me a message and ask me some information, the first thing I would say to you is, you know, thanks very much, James, for your inquiry. What is it that's attracted you to it? What are the results and benefits that you personally like to receive? So you got to find out what is it they want. And you're going to tell me, you know, whether it's better skin, energy, weight loss, whatever. And then the next question that leads on is, well, what is your diet like currently? Are you eating a lot of fruits and vegetables? And most people are going to say, my diet is not great. I'm not eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. And then I would say something as simple as this. Well, I'm going to be really honest with you. I can't help you achieve any of your goals till we increase your fruit and vegetable intake, because that's the key to everything. Your body needs to be fed properly before it can ever lose weight, or, you know, you get more energy, better skin, whatever it is you want. We're supposed to be eating between 7 to 11. You tell me you're only eating 2 to 3. Do you think you could up that to 6 to 7 every single day? And most people are going to say no. And that's when I say, well, I have the perfect solution for you. First and foremost, you know, we got to get you on capsules. But what would you be prepared to pay every day? Okay, so I'm finding out, what are they prepared to pay every day? And then most people are going to tell you 2 or 3 euros. You've got the premium straight away. So I'm able to say, well, for less than that, you're telling me you've 3 euros a day to spend. For less than that, I can give you 30 different types of raw fruit and veg, the best you're ever going to get. You're not going to get anything like this in the supermarket. It's going to go straight into your bloodstream. After 4 months, you are not going to know yourself. How does that sound?
Yeah, and a big thing I always say to kind of close it is, I would say our most popular product would be our premium, and that's what people get the most results out of, and that's what nearly everybody orders. Because then people think, okay, I'm not just the only one that orders this is what everybody else orders. So people want to follow what everybody else does.
Yeah. And even to ask something as simple as, well, do you like your takeaway at the weekend? Are you partial to a cup of coffee during the day? So that if they say to you it's too expensive, you can say, well, what about, you know, what benefit are you getting from that coffee each and every day? Or, you know, that takeaway, is it doing you any good? What about for 4 months making that sacrifice? Making an investment in your health. You're not out any more money. You're just cutting back on something that's not doing you any good, and see how it goes. And if people, the way I feel, and this is the way I genuinely feel, if people aren't interested in making that sacrifice, then they're not going to be good customers, because they're looking for a quick fix. And we're not about a quick fix, because quick fix customers are a nightmare. If they won't take the product properly, so they're not going to experience benefits. They're going to tell you it doesn't work. So I only want customers that are going to, you know, really take their capsules. And then obviously if the premium, the shakes are a fantastic product. I mean, the way we promote them is for kids, because we have a little boy who's a terrible bad eater, but he loves his milkshake. So going to school in the morning, he takes his milkshake every day with his frozen banana and his peanut butter. And he is going to school with a much better breakfast in him than I would say nearly every child in his class who is having sugary cereals or toast. So that's the way we promote the shakes. And then obviously, you know, people have a problem with a meal replacement. I had a problem with a meal replacement, but what I realized was the meal I was replacing was of very little nutritional value. So I mightn't have been having a breakfast, or if I did, it wasn't very nutritious. So yes, I'm replacing that meal with a milkshake, but it's a much better replacement. So it's explaining to people that you are replacing a meal, but you're replacing a pretty crappy meal with a very good quality meal.
A big thing is, if you want to sell a lot more premium, you need to make sure that you're on premium yourself. We find kind of throughout our teams, if the team members on berries, they nearly always sell berries, or if they're just on shakes, they nearly all just sell shakes. But our team members that are on premium, that's all they sell, because that's the benefits they're feeling. It's very difficult for you, if all you're willing to pay for is the berries, to try and promote the premium to somebody, because you don't see value in it yourself to pay the extra to buy the premium. So you're never going to get customers to do it.
Yeah. No, it makes an awful lot of sense. So let me ask you, Tina says she's talking to her friends, you know, about the kids and how the kids are, and she's struggling to turn the conversation then onto the product. How would you normally, you know, take a conversation from maybe just how the kids, what's happening, you know, and to into the product? How would you do that?
You see, it's not as straightforward as that. Some people think that if I was to speak to somebody today and I'm asking them about their kids, that, you know, you need to get that product information into them. It's a little bit slower than that. So what I say to my guys, it has to be like a conversation that you met this person on the street. So if you meet somebody in the street, you're going to ask them, how's the kids? How's life? Keep asking them questions about themselves. So, you know, what's work like? You know, are you going out at the weekend? And eventually, unless they're not a very nice person at all, they're going to ask you, well, what are you up to? And that's your chance to say, well, you know, I'm really excited because I've just started a new business. It's going so well for me. Don't tell them what it is. Just say that. And the natural course of the conversation is going to be, well, you know, what is your business? And if they don't ask you what your business is, well, you know what? That's okay. Leave them be, because they're not the sort of person that you want to work with, but they'll actually come back to you, so they will.
And a good thing to kind of get it into the kids is, as Mary says, ask away at them questions, and then eventually they will ask you questions. And we normally get on, like with Jamie, we'll say, oh my God, Jamie is such a fussy eater. Can't get him to eat this. I can't get him to eat that.
But I see Tina has said here that they are usually new people that you've added and been chatted to for a few days. If you're adding people, okay, you got to realize that conversation to the product is going to take you a month to 6 weeks, because I get people adding me constantly from different companies. And I know when they're adding me, they're just adding for me to sell to me. And I have no interest. I don't even accept them anymore. So if you need to genuinely care about the person first and foremost. So it's going to take you a little bit longer, but in the end, you'll have a greater result. So start off with liking their posts, you know, be genuine when you post a comment underneath it. So if they are looking great, say, oh my God, I loved your dress. Do you mind me asking where it is? Then take it offline, but build it up over a period of a month to 6 weeks. It is a little bit slower, but you're building a proper business that way, where you're building proper relationships. Because if you're only speaking to somebody 2 or 3 times, then you bring in about the product, straight away they know she had no interest in finding out about me or my kids. All she wanted to do was sell to me. So that's what we feel anyway works for us.
And like we, as I said with Jamie, is we always say, like, oh, Jamie is such a bad eater, but thankfully he loves his shakes, and we love like pictures of him and Abby taking shakes on our Facebook page. So it means if you're talking to somebody and they're having a look through your Facebook page and they see your kids are eating, like they're taking the gummies or they're taking their shakes, they're going to be more interested, and they're probably more likely to ask you questions. What does your kids take, if their kids are maybe fussy eaters themselves?
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I can see that's very, very real, and you're incorporating it into your family life. I love that. Gordon is asking, do you use Facebook pages, and do you use boosted posts?
Yeah, we've one Facebook page, Sculpt Your Life. We don't have any more than that. I know a lot of people have lots of different Facebook pages. I think that you need to focus on one brand and one identity, and if you put your focus and attention into that, you'll create good results. We have used boosted posts.
Yeah, well, I would normally put up a post, and if I see it's getting loads and loads of interest, then I might put on maybe €5 or €10 on and boost it extra. But if there's no point boosting it, if you put up a post first and nobody's liking it or commenting it generically, there's no real point boosting it, because nobody's going to click into it. And if anybody is clicking into it, they're not going to be interested in it, and you're going to get charged money for people just clicking into it that have no interest. But if you put up a post that's really interesting and people are liking and sharing already, you're going to get massive more people clicking into it for a lot less money.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, people think it needs to be a post on recruitment that you're boosting or a post on Juice Plus. It doesn't. What you want to do is get people onto your page. So if you have seen something funny or something that I always say to our guys is, what stops you at a post and makes you reread it and makes you laugh? Because that's your target market. Your target market is yourself. You're your best customer and you're your best distributor. So if you've stopped there, then put that on your page. See if you get interaction. And if it is, then you boost that post, because that's going to get people onto your page to see, well, what's this page about? What's on it? And then they're going to see, so they don't feel they're being sold to. People don't come on Facebook to be sold to. It's a social media site. It's for socializing. It's not a selling site. And the people who are having the most success are the people who aren't selling on it. It's the people that are building relationships and adding value.
And a big tip is, we find works really, really well is, see if you're on YouTube and you find like really funny videos or you see a really good quote, put it up on your page. And then once you start getting loads and loads of likes and comments, then you can put up maybe a post an hour later, maybe about the product or about the business, because kind of Facebook algorithm, the more people that are liking and commenting your previous post, the more people will actually see the next post that you put up. So always put up a post that people like and share, and then put up something about the product or business afterwards.
Very good. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you obviously, Seamus, you become incredibly knowledgeable. Very impressive. So let's just ask you a quick question. I know we're running on a bit, but this is just so amazing what you're saying. What would be your 5 top tips? What would be your absolute top tips for someone? If someone said, you know what do you think I should be doing? What are the key things that I should be doing that are really going to make me get moving forward with this?
Okay, the first thing I think that's so important is to fall in love with the product. If you don't love this product, then I really don't feel that you're going to be able to build a business, because what we need to do is get customers. We're very different from all of the other companies out there in that our business is based on building a customer base and giving the customers the best possible experience you can, going over and above whatever it takes to make them feel that if anybody else, if you've gone to a restaurant and you have had somebody serve you and they've had a smile on their face, nothing has been too much trouble. If somebody's asking about a good restaurant, they're going to recommend that restaurant and make sure you try and get that waiter. So that's what you want to do. You want to be the best distributor you possibly can be and give the best quality customer service. Because if you do that, your team are going to follow. So if you set the standards really, really high, it's going to filter through your team. So you have to first and foremost fall in love with the product like there is nothing else out there. Like, that's the way we feel. Anybody could argue with me that, Juice Plus is a load of crap, and I would smile at them and say, I'm glad you think that, but I will never be without it. It is the best kept secret that I only wish I'd found out about it sooner. Like, I love it. I love everything about it. And it's never going to go out of fashion. It's not one of these things that's going to be a fad. It's only going to get stronger. It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better. So if you love it like that, you'll attract customers. People will see that passion in you. They'll feel your excitement, and they're going to want to be on it. So that'll be the first tip. Right?
And the biggest thing is, following on kind of from customer care, is we find trying to convert your customers to distributors is so much more successful than trying to go out and find new distributors.
Yeah, we talked about that. You're right.
Yeah.
No, but go on, Seamus. That's good. Yeah.
Because we find that they're so much more loyal to the product. They already love it. So their head's not going to be turned when the next opportunity comes. And we find that when we put up recruitment posts just looking for people to join our business, we might have got like 1 out of 20 people will join their business from the post. But recruiting from customers, we normally get it down to about 1 out of 5. So it's a massive difference, and you have to do a lot less work to recruit people from your customers than trying to recruit brand new, complete strangers.
Okay.
And a real solid business is built on recurring customers, and that's what people don't realize, that every month you have to replace those customers, and your business isn't very, very solid and secure. So you want to build. So what we actually do is we reward our team with whoever gets the most recurring customers. We reward that, because that's a very, very, very big thing. So the third tip would be yourself. Stop trying to be everybody else, because you have everything within you that you need. You just need to be confident in yourself and believe in yourself that you can do it. And for instance, if we had have tried to be Katie Ravey, we would never have been successful, because she had a completely different client base. She was a different person to us. Whereas we became comfortable in our own skin. We were two young parents who didn't have a lot of money, but were very happy. We wanted a better life, and we were excited by it, and we definitely had our fair share of criticism. But once we flicked that switch and we decided that we weren't taking it on board anymore, and it was the people who were giving out the criticism was the people who had the issues themselves, everything became so much better for us, and life became so much better for us. So start believing in yourself. Stop following, thinking that you need to be somebody else. You don't. You have everything within you to do it, and take action. The biggest mistake people make is they don't take the action required. So it's fine to be excited about everything and be passionate, but if you're going to take action for 2 days and then do nothing, it's a waste of time, because nothing happens in that space of time. You have to be consistent. You have to consistently do what we get paid to do, which is, find customers, build a team, and take people to events. If you are consistently doing that every single day, and it only takes half an hour, but if you do it every day, you can't but have success.
Yeah, and a big thing with kind of customer care, like what we do at kind of Christmas time, is we normally go through our customer base and we find out who they're, and we normally always send them like a Christmas card. And the amount of response that we get back saying, oh, that's such a beautiful thing to do. And a lot of those people then will reorder again. They might have been thinking, maybe I'm going to cancel, maybe is it not working? But if you have somebody that thinks you're so nice to be able to send them Christmas cards, they're more inclined, or birthday cards, they're more inclined to reorder the product, because you think, oh, I don't want to disappoint this person, they're so nice to me. And it's a great way of holding on to customers, and it costs very little to get some birthday cards and Christmas cards sent out to people.
Yeah, and like this year what we did, because we've quite a few customers who've been on the product since we started 3 years ago, so we send a little gift card with them to them, and they really, really, really appreciated that. And some people might think, it added up to, it was a couple of hundred, but think of what you're making back from them people. They have the work begins when you actually sign up a customer. That's what people don't realize. I think the hard work is getting a customer. It's not. It's when you get that customer, it's keeping that customer and making that customer happy. So as Seamus said, it's going over and beyond. And third, I suppose fourth or fifth would be, what do you think?
Mindset, a big thing. We've done a lot of like personal development, and a big thing is your mindset. Like if I ask most people, can you go out and get 14 premium customers in a month? A few people will say, yeah, I can do it, and they'll say, okay, I'll give you 500 euros. They say, a few people can do it. But if I were to say, okay, your family's lives depend on it, you're getting 14 customers, you'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you get 14 customers. And the thing is, like, your family's life probably won't depend on it, but the standard of life that you can give your family by going out and getting 14 customers, because if you can do that, it allows you to go in Ireland, you can go STD if you get 14 premium customers. If you can do that, you can show somebody else how to do it, and they can show somebody else how to do it, and then that's how you start becoming really, really successful.
Yep. No, I think that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. All right, well, look, we're going to wrap it up now, because believe it or not, we're coming up to 9:30. And we're on so much longer than we would normally been on, but I honestly couldn't stop the call. This has been amazing. I've got 4 pages of notes myself. So we're going to finish in the next 1 minute, really. What are you most excited about as we look forward to for the next 5 years?
What is there not to be excited about? I suppose a little tradition that we started our first year in the business. So our first Christmas in the business was we had got a lovely bottle of champagne from hitting one of the promotions, and we kept it till Christmas Eve, and we had the kids in bed, and we popped it, and we had a toast to all of the people's lives who we had helped made healthier, and also the families that we helped make financially better that Christmas. And we've made it a tradition ever since. So every Christmas and Christmas Eve, we open that nice bottle of champagne and we toast to the amount of people that we've helped. So where we want to go in the next five years is we're creating a team of people who are so much better than us, who drive us to be more and more each day, and who we love working with. And we realize that we can make such an impact, guys. Like, the difference we can make to people's lives is just phenomenal. People join this business with the view of making it €100, and then all of a sudden they are able to completely transform where they're at. And you won't ever realize where people are at, because I was one of those people who, I was proud. I never would have wanted to let people know that I couldn't afford to go out for dinner on a Friday night, because every penny we had was accounted for. So you never would have known by looking at me how badly off we were financially. But now I realize that there's so many more people out there that are looking for something, that need something, but that can't go and get another job because circumstances won't allow them. I mean, I couldn't have got another job, but I was able to do Juice Plus because I was able to fit it into those 5-minute segments that I had throughout my day. And through doing that and through working hard, we have completely transformed what life is like. Like, life will never be the same if you just grab it and you just go with it.
And how much have you, sorry, because we got to finish up now, but how much have you earned in bonuses, do you think, since you joined?
Oh, well over 100K, because we've got 2 bonuses.
Yeah. So we get the biggest check one month was
over 50,000
€50,000 in 1 month.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You must have done a big dance around the kitchen on that one.
The biggest thing hit home to us one day is the very first conference we went to in Dublin. We drove down. We had a kind of a crappy old car. We drove down to. We didn't really have a lot of money. And then the following year, we were driving down in our dream car, and we were the guest speakers to speak at the conference. And we're thinking how our life has changed in a year.
But now it's no longer about us. Now it's about how many people can we help feel what we feel every day.
Oh, well, I think that's the most amazing way to finish the call. I mean, you guys have just been absolutely outstanding, and I can't thank you enough for being on the call, but just being you and just sharing from your hearts. It's very impressive indeed. And I think everybody would join me on the call to thank you enormously for your time and your sincerity and how utterly genuine you are, but so passionate. And it's very exciting to see. So that's it really for tonight, everyone. It's a recorded call, so we will be putting that on Facebook, and I'll get that to you obviously on Facebook Messenger. We don't send it out on Facebook as such. We put it on Facebook Messenger.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll enjoy seeing yourselves on camera. That's the last call for this part of the year. We will be back in September with something a little bit different. So thank you, everyone, and very, very enormous thanks to both of you, Mary.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you all on that stage in Bournemouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.